Next, under request for hearings under notice of intent, Mark and Cynthia Albers, 177 Fair Road, Woods Hole, Mass., for permission to raise, R-A-Z-E, the existing house and construct a new 5-bedroom, single-family house with attached garage, decks, porches, install a new Title V sewage disposal system, fences, patios, AC units, concrete parking, fire pit, garden pavilion, utilities, dry wells, retaining walls, landscape walls, remove an existing irrigation well, remove trees, install mitigation plantings and associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this was originally filed as an amendment, and the board felt that the proposed change was a little larger than you would have liked to see under an amendment, so they have filed a new notice for you. Am I correct?
Correct. Sounds
Yes.
like
Correct.
it is.
Yeah.
Although,
Jeff? Right, Jeff. Good evening.
Well, good evening. I'm Jeff Ryther, BSS Design, representing the applicants at Mark and Cynthia Albers. Like Jennifer said, we did see you a few weeks ago about amending an active order of conditions on this lot, but it seemed like, there was just too many changes to be considered that. It's still an open project to be continued till I think it's December 9th, but we decided to file a notice since the tone of that hearing wasn't so wonderful, so we are here under new notice. So I'll go through this. This is a 2.5 acre parcel at the it's at the north end of Fay Road. Here's the Fay Road, and the bike path is here, so probably came underneath the little bridge here onto the site. The resource areas are land under the ocean, Vineyard Sound here. Got coastal beach, coastal bank, and land subject to coastal storm flowage. We have a VE zone here with an offset of 25 feet. That line also loops up here and into the neighbor's lot. The AE flood zone on this lot is right in this corner of the parcel. And the majority of the lot is in the X zone, which is upland. The entire building, new building, all buildings except for the old shed are in the Zone X. Proposed to be in the Zone X. So the existing house is drawn as a heavy hatch here in the corner. It's a 5-bedroom house. We're looking to reconstruct here on, offset from that footprint, a 5-bedroom house. We do have one feature here. It's different from the last plan. We took the bedroom that was here and offset it down that walkway. This is a wooden walkway, sort of a boardwalk. This is the parking area. We have a shell driveway with a grass strip down the center that Dan Celine has designed first. The main parking area is here. There's also some grass parking court here. There's a door out the back side of this garage, so they can use that for parking as well. Septic's in the back. All the way back here, there's 3 pipes that connect to the septic tank. Mitigation, it's down here in the corner here, the calculations. It's pretty well broken out. Although the area went down from the last plan you saw as far as mitigation, we kept the areas, the proposed area is the same. We saw the large area here of 2366. We have an adjacent spot with this little bench boulder in it that's 598 and 93 square feet around the flagpole area. These are the new mitigation areas closest to the wetlands. As far as the setbacks go, We have the top of coastal bank. Here we have a 50-foot setback, the A buffer, and then the B buffer is here. Some construction is out of the jurisdiction. That's the basics. I think Dan has a few words about the landscape architecture, and let him speak at this point.
I'm Dan Soline, landscape architect. I think Jeff, did a nice job of describing the basic hard features, of the property. So I won't, reiterate those. If you have questions about them, I'd be happy to answer those. I'd like to focus on the planting, elements of the project. I consider them essentially to be of four, sort of distinct parts. And in fact, our planting plan divides the plant schedule into four sections, which essentially, correspond to what I'll describe. Jeff's plan, showed the mitigation plantings. That was the green hatched or green colored area on Jeff's plan. It's essentially, this area tapering into that area here again in a small area around the proposed flagpole. Those mitigation plantings, total 3,057 square feet, which exceeds our 2,672 square foot requirement by roughly 400 square feet. We've developed a plan there that is diverse in terms of plant type and plant height. I think it provides a rich wildlife, habitat, and plants that are, quite reliable. I won't go into all the plants. I don't know that at this hour I need to read you the plant list. I think the plant list is clear, and I'll save you that time. Again, I'm happy to discuss any questions you have about those. In addition to the mitigation area, we're proposing to remove or restore, with native plantings, the vegetation that is landward of the top of the seawall. Essentially, this stretch. Okay. If you have visited the site, which I'm sure you have, you've probably noted that the vegetation in that area is vastly, the majority being invasive. There's privet there's porcelain berry, bittersweet, English ivy, Japanese honeysuckle, all of the typical invasive plants that we battle. Russian olive, and so on. So we have filed a management plan, which is 8.5 by 11 in a report, which essentially follows a model that has been successfully, permitted and successfully implemented, on several of our projects under orders that you have provided. It's I think a model that or a methodology that you're familiar with, at this point. And the plant selections and the methodology, are exactly, what has been proposed elsewhere and has been so successful, including the Lartigue property, which is here, where we completed a restoration project recently and has performed beautifully. And so if you're ever out here, I would encourage you to check it out if you haven't had that chance, because I think it's a wonderful product of good science and appropriate permitting. And so we're seeking to do the same here. In fact, the total restored native edge, if you combine them in these two properties that we've worked on, will come to 400 linear feet of water frontage, that has been naturalized, as a result of these two residential projects. And I mean, we're really proud of that, and excited about the success that this restoration model has proven. So that we're calling that the coastal bank restoration area, and that is again a distinct section of the plant list, on our drawing. Thirdly, we have what we're calling the upland restoration planting. That is up in this area, sort of surrounding. First of all, there's an existing shed here, which is going to be taken down. And around the shed are plants, like lilacs and massive Japanese yews, Russian olive, the things that are not native, not uncommon, but not native. And so, we'd like to restore that area, as well, using some of the same plant materials as we're using along the coastal bank restoration area, but also some more woody plants like white oaks, shad, high bush blueberries, arrowwood viburnum, and so on.
Where are those, Dan?
Pardon me?
Where are those?
It's this
Up
area.
in there, okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's what we're calling on the plan in our plant list, the upland upland restoration area. So finally, there is the ornamental element of the landscape, which honestly is quite minimal. Here we have a little bit of ornamental planting, in the vicinity of the fire pit, off the screen porch, here. That is it, in terms of ornamental plantings, that would be proximal to the house. Okay. There is a hedge back here existing that's Leyland cypress. We're going to be underplanting a monumental oak, here with some ground covers. But all of this is needed. All of that is needed. All of this is needed. And some of the rest is native. So it's really quite or predominantly a native planting. But we will have lawn, ground covers, some limited ornamentals, and plants, for screening. Just to summarize that in terms of area. You mentioned the 3,057 square feet of mitigation. The coastal restoration area comes to 4,150 square feet. The upland restoration area is 2,610 square feet, for a total area of naturalized landscape of 9,800 square feet, or almost a quarter acre of this property is being converted from lawn, invasive species, or ornamental species to natural materials. Okay, including 20 new native trees. Okay, so that essentially, I'll also say that some of the plant material that is outside of the buffer is also needed. Finally, I'd just like to touch on the topic of irrigation. This client would like to irrigate their lawn areas and their garden. They have a strong interest in gardening, and so we're developing a beautiful garden for them. There have been historically 2 wells on this property. There's evidence of those 2 wells, in this area. The septic system, the location of the septic system will render those wells obsolete. They're too close to the septic system to be permitted. So we're proposing to install a well about here, which would be dedicated to irrigation. We proposed this on the Lortique property here. It was included under the order. We've installed the well for watering the lawn. So the benefit of that, of course, is that we're not drawing on town water. We're drawing on a shallow lens of fresh water that exists in this area. I'm told by the hydrologist that lens of fresh water is water that's moving towards the sound at the rate of about a foot a day. So it's not water it's water that's going to soon, or relatively soon, be in the sound. And we're sort of, in the words of the well driller, we're sipping off the surface, of that lens of fresh water, to use for irrigation. Okay, some of you have been victim of my I guess quoting of the Falmouth Friendly Lawn program in the past. But some of you are new, so let me entertain you for a minute. So the Falmouth Friendly Lawn program includes this quote. I recorded this from the website today. It says, "Water the lawn with 1 inch of water each week for deep roots. Use a tuna can placed on the ground to measure the water." Okay, so the idea is for the homeowner to put out sprinklers and pull hoses and drag them around their property. And every time they situate the sprinkler, to put a 1 inch tuna can, 1 inch high tuna can next to the sprinkler, so they'll be able to tell, when they've applied 1 inch of rainfall or irrigation, to the lawn. It's sort of, I think we can all agree that it's sort of a simple, perhaps naive, way to approach it. Maybe more suitable to the landscapes that I grew up on, which were modest, and where my father didn't hesitate to have me drag lawns and sprinklers around the yard. But certainly on a larger, complex property, it's sort of unrealistic to expect any homeowner to do that or want to spend their summers that way. And there's a better way, and that way is really to use, 21st century, technology, irrigation with proper controllers where they can set exactly the amount of water that, the lawn needs and no more. And if we use drought-tolerant turf, we can even shrink that level of irrigation application even more. We can add a rain sensor so that after rainfall, the irrigation doesn't go on. We will use drip irrigation for any planting beds, so there's not water thrown up into the air where it's going to be evaporating. And the irrigation will go on in the early morning hours when it won't be evaporating, but it'll be going directly into the ground where it's intended to do some good. So I hope that I hope you'll appreciate that we're trying to go about this in the right way. Well, in a situation really where I think that the irrigation presents very little environmental risk. We're not up against a pond here where the stagnation of the situation would lead to eutrophication resulting from fertilizer being washed into the pond or something that might be more common there. Here we've got a very active, water condition where any nutrients that might come, which I dare say would be little or none, but any that reach would be rapidly diluted, in the sound. So I would appreciate your thoughtfulness on our client's interest in irrigation in that manner. So I guess that's really all I have, and happy to answer any questions you have.
Jen, anything else from you?
No. Dan,
Yes.
your landscape plan. So the area below, so let's start, your upland portion is great. Your mitigation plantings, in the area that's supposed to be mitigation, correct? So
Yes.
that's that 2,365
Right here,
square feet?
right here,
Yes. You
okay,
have 217 shrubs,
okay.
and the rest are grasses.
Are you talking about the mitigation area?
Yeah.
Well, the mitigate.
So they're grasses and forbs, and come on, you know better than that. We don't
This is the
usually allow.
mitigation area,
Yep, that's mitigation area. That's what I just counted.
and this is
On the
the,
bottom part, you have probably a lot more. I think it
Yeah,
was,
there's 2,000 or something, there's 630 plugs of switchgrass.
you have only, in the restoration part below the mitigation plantings, you only have 63 actual shrubs in there.
okay,
And the rest are grasses, so I kind of want to see a little bit more
okay,
shrubs.
all right. Well, we
I
can-
understand the diversity, I get the diversity, but we're not gonna go heavy on a grassland, and, you know, we want that structure, so.
Well, we're trying
you
to,
could-
trying to strike the balance that we have seen elsewhere work, so, but I'm very happy to dial it up if
We
you'd like us to
usually
dial
have
it up.
people up, you know, I get these plans all the time.
I
Give me
understand.
more of a balance towards woody shrubs as opposed to the grasses and forbs.
Okay,
And the bearberry, okay? Because that, I mean, that's just a ground cover. Other than that, I really don't have any questions regarding the change in the design or the upland portion. I just kind of want to see more of a balance
okay,
with the mitigation areas, the irrigation in this area of the town, and the commission may disagree with me, I really don't have an issue with it. The flushing is just too great on the sound. And whatever you do, Dan, please don't ever read the Falmouth Friendly Lawn thing to me again. Thank
Or
you.
to Maury,
Thank you.
Pardon me?
or to Maury.
I'm sorry.
It's no longer in effect, you can't, because there is a bylaw that the town adopted for the nitrogen loading. So we just kind of abandoned that. I don't need to hear about tuna cans. That was painful. So just work on the restoration
moving into the
plan.
21st century.
I'll give you the irrigation.
I'll carry the flag.
I'll give you the irrigation if you'll give me more shrubs.
You
Okay?
got it, you
All
got
right,
it,
thank
you
you.
got it.
Jamie,
What are we here for?
Jamie, any
Yeah, right.
Didn't they just negotiate it?
Yes.
I like the project. I got a simple question, though. If I'm reading this right, you have an elevation of 18 grade, and your first floor elevation is 18? Am I seeing that right?
Well, the grades ought to be this contour here,
Yeah.
around it, yeah, that's gonna be shaved down. That's grade that was built up around that existing porch. And so we're gonna, cut that off down in there. We're not gonna cut the
Oh, I see
the
it.
mitigation area, but that lawn area. So there's some spot grades, there's a new contour here of 16, some spot grades of 16 and a half. 2 steps up to the deck, 1 step up into the house at 18.
So this is what the new thing is.
So the spot grade is what you want to bring it down to? Is that,
That's sort of
my only other question would be about the irrigation, but that's taken care of. I'm
That's
just
been
thinking,
discussed.
you know. Thank you.
Mary,
I was glad to see the upland restoration added in here, that's nice. And I have a question, I think it's entirely immaterial, but it's, I want an answer. You have this heavy black line all around, I assume that represents the envelope of your project, and what the question really is what do the different types of dashes and whatnot represent, if anything? There's solid line, there's irregular dashes, regular dashes.
Well, I'm sorry, we have sort of fallen out of habit of putting these legends on. This is the limit of work.
Okay,
What we,
the whole thing?
yeah, the limit of any kind of work on the project would be bounded by the heavy black line. Of course, we have the limit of the buffer, because this is the 100-foot line.
Yeah, that part, I was just wondering if the line all around the outside is not, it seems to be
There's a property line.
demarking a couple different things because it changes.
Yeah, in some cases, there may be property lines. You know, one of the things that's a little bit confusing about this property, and also was with the Lartiques, is that there's a property line here, okay, or a line here, and Lartiques have a line there, but actually, both these properties meet in the middle of the MBL. You know, the MBL access is essentially an easement over both properties, so that gets, so we actually have the rights under the easement to alter, you know, the MBL path, which, you know, in the case of the Lartiques, we did because, you know, there were invasive plants there. We also, under a separate permit, permitted a new path through there, and we were able to work within the portion that was owned by the applicant. And so we've sort of extended the limit of work for that reason to that point.
Just to get to the end of my question, down in the southwest corner there, well, it's not really, what is it? Yeah, that corner. You have a solid line that kind of comes around the corner, and elsewhere it's dashed. Are these different kinds of limits of work, or?
You know, it's a freak of the CAD
Okay, so
process.
it's not significant.
It's no
Okay.
different.
All right, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it.
I have a question, it has nothing to do with our jurisdiction.
Then can we keep it short, Betsy, because we have about 6 other hearings.
In your proposed concrete parking, there's a 14-inch maple. You don't have it there, but Jeff has it in his.
Because he's taking it
Can I-
out.
It's an oak, isn't it?
No,
It says
a maple?
14-inch maple.
Maple.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And is that gonna stay in the middle of the parking?
No.
So that's X. Okay, that's my only question.
Okay. Mike?
Thank you.
The existing stairway, whatever it is not in the project area to the, over near the jetty?
Here?
That's staying as it is?
They're working. It says reconstruct stairs and
Reconstruct.
landing.
It's been a real extra, both of them. Yeah, I guess our limit of work is for landscaping, you know, and yes, the intent is to reconstruct, you know, these on the existing footprints.
And that reconstruction is taking stone?
Steps and walkway.
It's the walkway,
The wooden one.
the wooden walkway, which is in the velocity zone.
Yeah, they're both, well, that's true. Let me just go to this. I mean, you'll see these all over town, and I know that many of them are in the V zone. This is half in the V, same here. No, this is totally in the V zone. But, you know, we're just putting them back in wood, exactly the locations where they are today. They're just starting to rot, and
Yeah, no, I
it's time
appreciate,
to do it.
I appreciate the problem. Also, if I were the property owner, I might not want to see that wood coming at my house. You know, it's gonna be
They're
blowing
gonna-
around, I'm
they're gonna have
just
bigger
here.
problems
I have
than
the
that.
information, I don't need any more, you know. No other questions?
Maureen?
I just had actually 2. I would like, when you, and I don't know if it's been happening less and less, or I'm just not noticing, but when trees are gonna be usually removed, large trees, we used to have them flag them, so we would know which ones were gonna be removed and which ones weren't. And the same thing goes with, there's no A buffer or B buffer stakes in the field, so it's really hard for me to, you know, go to the top of the coastal bank and take my little feet and measure 50 feet and go and make another 50 feet. So I really think we have to start making, and I'm not you guys, just in general, I just, using you because you're the first ones, first hearing tonight, but I think we need to have the A and B buffer zone shown on these, out in the field, so we can have better idea, and when large trees are being removed in the A zone, to be shown. And that, and I know it's, I don't think it's in the A buffer, it's probably in the B buffer, is the 20-inch oak that's on the corner of the, where you have a walkway,
Yeah,
that's going,
that's in the B.
yeah.
Yeah, that's,
You'll see in the legend that it says that tree to be removed within the buffer zone B. So we have
It's like 14.
a number of them, and Dan said we're replacing 20 trees, I believe the number was. There's no tree removal in the A zone. There's many, many trees there. There's actually a willow tree that Jen wanted to keep from the last time, if you remember that one.
Yeah, I wasn't here for the first hearing, so I apologize, and I'm just here for this new one.
Correct. Well, so, and in this stretch right here, you know, no offense, but that is sort of, that's out of jurisdiction there, so.
Right, I was just clarifying that that
That's not
was
where the
gonna
X's are.
go, that's all. And again, if it was marked in the field, it'd be so much easier to not have to waste time tonight.
So in the future, Jeff, mark A and B buffers in the field and flag your trees.
We're gonna ask that of everybody, not just you guys.
Joel, your company as
There's
well.
another project coming up
Yeah.
tonight, wasn't very well marked
Yep.
either.
And then the only other quick question, on your restoration project, which I did look across the way and it came out really nice, the house next door, so, but I still get a little heartburn when I see 12 applications of, you know, herbicides, that I hope you do it really judiciously. And when you say you're ripping them out mechanically, when I was there, are you just basically gonna, you know, take a grapple and pull them all up?
That's-
Basically the whole thing except that one clump of bayberry,
right.
okay.
Yeah, I think there's a clump of bayberry and there's a nice patch of bearberry,
Yeah,
yeah, as well. So anything that's native will be preserved.
they must
And-
like goldenrod, huh?
Hmm?
There's a lot of goldenrod, I hope they don't have allergies. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm glad you brought it back and we could look at it again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kristen?
That's gonna be a great house after what is there. I have a question, the area that's the MBL, are you doing something along that path? Because
Well,
is something happening there?
there's nothing specifically proposed. And if we do any work in there, you know, we'll be back, I guess.
I
But
see.
there's no,
Okay.
there's
That's
no
just
work
what I
in
was-
here proposed at this time.
Okay.
All set? All set, Kristen?
Yep.
Court?
Despite my skepticism on irrigation systems, you, of course, Dan, in your eloquence, you transported me into soaring flights of irrigation ecstasy. I'm encouraged by your description of individual watering of each blade of grass and every plant programmed by somebody around, so that the water is not wasted. Every plant gets what it should, and no other plant gets too much, and all of those things. How exciting. Is that realistic? In other words, what I'm really asking is, can you design a system that works like that and give us assurances that in fact it will?
I'll tell you what, let's use this project to explore all of the conservation efficiencies of irrigation systems. And I'll be
I thought
happy,
that's what you were doing
I'll be
on
happy to report back on every efficiency that I have
Sounds like a
discovered.
deal.
We'll call you on it.
I mean.
I will be back.
And it's late, and
Yes.
normally I would love to debate this, we've got lots of other things to do. My concern is that too often, and Maureen seconds this over and over again, you drive by on a pouring rain, coming down, and sprinklers are flowing in every direction, and water is getting wasted. I realize the guy's putting a well in, but it's doing no good except leaching all the nutrients out of the ground and into the groundwater and into the whatever. That's the reality that I'm concerned about and this commission is concerned about.
I appreciate what you're saying, and, but honestly, if that concern is deeply felt, that you should seek a way to to address your concern, townwide, rather than on an occasional basis along the shore.
It's not an occasional basis.
No,
Our
certainly.
things are basically within the resource
But
areas, which are most,
But of course, there's a lot of properties that are irrigated that aren't coming back, that are gonna remain irrigated for a long time. And, so again, I don't, I appreciate what you're saying, we've all seen what you described. Okay. I can only, I'm here to really, I guess, suggest that, we're going to employ whatever efficiencies we can
yeah.
and utilize, groundwater and not town water, and, try to go about this in the right way.
No, truthfully, and without being sarcastic, I mean, truthfully, it would be wonderful if we could be assured that irrigation systems worked as you suggest they ought to. Because then, I agree with you, it is efficient.
I'm gonna accept
He's volunteering to,
That's not the reality.
We can
I
discuss
think-
this week,
I'd love to
when
keep
we,
this
for
going, but
deliberations, Courtney,
I've
we can
made my
discuss it in
point. I think
deliberations.
we gotta move on.
We'll take it
Thank you.
project, perfect.
I have a question.
Betsy?
Jen,
I know this, but.
Jen.
Yes.
if we have a choice of closing it and you look at the new
No.
planting plan,
Well, they have a continuance until when was your
The
continuance?
9th.
The 9th.
The 9th anyway for the amended, so would you mind just holding to the 9th and just submitting the revised plan, and then that way you could mark the tree that, Betsy wants marked that has a little X in it.
Sure.
Maybe flag the trees out in the field, Jess Omori, if she's out in Woods Hole, can go back out through that area. And then submit the revised plan, to me, just kind of giving me a bit of a more woody plants. We'll keep you to the 9th, and then you can withdraw the amendment.
And I just had one quick question, Russ, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I forgot to ask you, the septic system, now it has a guest house, is a septic system, did you have to do any redesign for the extra?
No, that's,
Okay,
because
that's-
it was
Fine, that's
earlier I
fine.
mentioned there was a room that was attached here, and then
Okay,
just basically broke it off and moved it out, and that was a bedroom.
very good, thank you. As long as the Board of Health's happy, I'm happy.
Can I just go back one
I'm sure you want
minute here? Just about, it was the maple tree here. Now, did you want that marked in the field? Because that one's out of jurisdiction. Right?
Yeah,
It's
correct.
marked on the plan.
Marked in
I
the
just
plan,
on
yeah.
the plan,
That it's coming out?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You want the
Well,
9th,
I just didn't want to confuse you with my legend, which was really meant for
the buffer
removal
zone,
in the buffer.
right,
But I'll just make a special
Make a
note
separate
for
note
it.
on it, Jeff.
Yeah, I'll put a note.
because I wasn't quite sure where the end of the buffer was.
Buffers.
I mean,
I
I think
know.
that's the only edit on this plan, so I just
Staking was
didn't
taking
know
care
if you
of that.
needed Dan's plan edited, or if you wanted them both touched up.
Both.
Touch
Oh.
that one up too. You want the 9th?
9th is fine.
At the request of the applicant, I
would you
make the
like-
motion to continue this to December 9th.
Second,
Jeff,
Okay.
when you come on the 9th,
So
bring your
Betsy
request.
and
Follow
Mike,
the amendment.
Susan.
So just,
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
It's like dogs at food.
All right, any other questions or comments from the commission? Comments or questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved.
Thank you.
Next up is Ovington Realty Trust, care of Rosemary Mooring, Lot 10B, Edgewater Drive East, East Falmouth, Mass, for permission to remove and replace the existing coastal bank stairway with Versalock retaining wall, remove and replace the existing concrete block wall with Versalock retaining wall, and concrete cap units, remove and replace the 4-foot wide steps, access steps, and construct a 3-foot wide lateral access steps, remove and replace wall footings at the base of the stone riprap wall, repoint the gaps in the wall at the base of the revetment along with removing loose mortar and associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jeff, again.
Thanks, Jeff.
and again, I'm Jeff Ryther with BSS Design, representing Ovington Realty Trust. This is a group of folks that live in the area here that have this way down to the shoreline, which services a common dock. And it's become the point in its life here. We call it an access upgrade because it's starting to become unsafe on that stairway down. I don't know if any of you walk down there, but it's just, sort of a hodgepodge now of creosote lumber. I think it's creosote. It's older lumber, like railroad tie type. So the proposal is to remove that and to construct in its place a more up-to-date walkway with steps at normal riser heights and tread widths. And also they want to have a metal handrail, as well as continuing that into concrete down to the water. So there's an existing set of steps there. I don't know if you saw those or not, but we're looking to sort of relocate those a couple feet so they line up with this. This is where they bring their dinghies down to the dinghy dock. That's part of that common dock that I mentioned. So that's the first thing, the main stairway. Then there's a block wall from this riprap to this riprap area that we want to remove and replace with the more standard segmental type block. This one's a Versalock. We say or equal. A Versalock is almost like saying like a tissue, Kleenex type thing, But Versalock is probably one of the most common fiberglass pins. It's adhered together, not with mortar, but with an epoxy. And it has a capstone on it to sort of finish it off. It's similar to what you see there now, but the one that's out there now is starting to disintegrate. So we're going to replace that. And it's same length of 20 feet. There's also a little footing down here that needs to be replaced, so we show that. Reconstruct that concrete footing. A couple of areas that need to be repointed. That means to pull out the old loose mortar, and it's an older style wall, and then patch those areas. The riprap on either side of the steps will be repositioned back into its place and remortared. Lastly is the lateral access. In your notice, you'll see that there's a license for all this, and there are these lateral access steps. So when a dock is at the height of, say, 3 or 4 feet, which this one is, you can't really get under it or over it, so you're supposed to provide steps up and over. So that not only do these act as steps for dinghies, it's also the lateral access steps, and then we have to put some new ones back on the south side as well. So those are the 4 parts: the walkway, the wall, the rework of the toe of the wall, and the access steps. I didn't go over resource areas, but this is might look a little strange, but this is how it's mapped. Zone X is from this line here landward, although we're in the coastal beach area. So we got land under the ocean, or salt pond, I guess in this case, coastal beach and coastal bank, and then flowage out here in the waterway. And then the offsets from the coastal bank are on my plan, but not staked in the field. But everything else is staked. I think that was pretty straightforward out there. All right, any questions?
Jen?
I'm just confused. I have been ever since I started looking at this plan. The Versalock wall, the steps are gonna come off that wall?
These steps down here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And then that little gray area, that's the,
That's right here. There's a little detail of that.
okay, yep. And now
Here's
this-
here's the main walk, and then those steps that we just referred to.
Okay.
They're a little heavier because it's going to be during the high tides, there'll be in some wave action, so
Okay.
I didn't want to go with the segmental blocks in
Yeah.
the waterway, so we
Okay.
got precast slabs.
Okay. That's it.
Mike?
Oh, wait, one more thing, sorry. Did you get DMS letter? You'll have a
Yes.
time of year restriction? Okay.
I think everything's kind of covered in this.
You'll have a time of year restriction?
All right, I see it here.
Yeah.
I think we can work with that.
Okay, good.
You're talking February 15th through April 30th.
Correct.
Mike?
The repointing of the existing riprap, the mortar joints, is that going to extend?
Hold on just a second.
Sure. Is that going to extend along the whole length of the structure?
I didn't hear the first part of your question, that's what I,
You got mortaring redoing the joints of that,
yes.
that roll.
It's just in this section here that was broken down. We have to, look at these lot lines when we
Well, all right.
design this, so as far as we can go is to the lot line. There is problems here, believe me.
Well, that's what
And
I'm
it's
looking
an
at here.
adjacent parcel, that's the homeowner here.
So you're working only with on the parcel of work, and the
Right.
limit of work really isn't well-defined, so that's okay. I may sound, well, one, where is your benchmark? We've been burned of late, so I'm fighting another fight.
I'll have to look at the plan for that. It may not be even on this plan, but, we,
That was the bench over there. I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
well, we don't show a bench on this one.
Well,
That we show that it's on
there's been an
NAVD.
issue of late, and just a good practice. I don't think I'm going to given the nature of the project, get too excited, but in general, if you can, make sure that benchmark.
Yeah, no, we always
Which
pro-
the ba, which
We
data
provide
that's
the
really on.
contractor, a bench right next to the, adjacent to the work, so they can work with that, rather than put it on the bound up here.
Yeah.
I could have
Yeah,
given you a
I-
bound here, but
wherever.
that would have just.
We know where, so during construction, we know what people are working on, so that's the,
Sure.
funny things happen. Boy, having that ramp stored on the dock, in the down in the velocity zone, I wish, the idea was to take the floating structures away. I think you should take the ramp with it. It's sitting there, it's not tied down. If you're gonna take the
actually,
floats away, take
I-
the whole thing away, I guess.
I
is
think,
my-
I was there before that happened, so I didn't
Okay.
I didn't see,
I'm
you're
just
saying this,
bringing it up.
this ramp is on the dock?
Yes,
Okay, is it tied down, or?
no,
No.
no,
I see.
gravity. Gravity's
And
keeping it
would,
there.
a good heavy line wrapped around it a few times, or does that do it?
I'm not gonna, engineer
go
the
there,
problem
no.
here.
No, store it in the
No.
upland.
You want to store it in the upland someplace?
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna take the floats out, then you're gonna move those.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, I'm done.
Is that,
Maury?
yeah, this is,
My name is Mark Rader. I'm part of the Dock Association, Ovington Realty Trust. In the past, we have usually tied it down. I'm surprised it isn't tied down now. But if it's your preference that we remove it altogether and take it off-site with the rest of the dock sections, we can do that as well.
Well, it's personal, one, we're here to protect the resource, and you do get that storm, it doesn't do the resource any good, but also you get residents who live in the area, and have that thing floating around is probably not gonna make anybody happy.
I hear your concerns.
Maury?
I just had one question. The elevation of the top of the cap of the, your Versalock concrete, in the little down at the very bottom, you have a little detail of it, and you show the lawn, and then you have impervious fill, 12 inches deep, and you have the lawn behind it, and then you have the cap and the pitch of the ground, which, it does slope down. I just would like to see somehow that all that turf fertilizer, that they're not supposed to be using, doesn't go into the water. I don't know, I mean, you've made it impervious so that your drain hole down below, you're not getting any drainage down. I know you don't want it to become hydraulic, so you
Well,
want to.
that's the idea. This is actually Versalock's detail for,
Yeah,
to keep the runoff from,
going
right
behind
up
it and
the
pushing
wall.
it out,
Right.
right.
But, and so they had that little drainage down below when the water does sneak in there.
Yeah, well, this is where buffers are nice, when you just plant, a couple shrubs so that it takes up the nutrients and slows the
Well,
water
we
down.
do have to keep that area open right through there at the end of the walkway, which is right
Anyway,
now.
if there's any way that when they get done, Jeff, when you look at it, that it's not sheeting off, that they don't slope it, right off the edge
Well,
of
it
the
does
wall.
kind of flatten out right there.
Yeah, they could put maybe a little
So
swale in there.
I didn't show the pitch. This is, got much more pitch. You can see the contours
Yeah.
here, but
Oh, yeah,
Maury, we'll put a special condition.
Okay, thank you.
That if there is any issues with the
Thank you.
drainage in that area, that they'll be required to plant a buffer.
thank you.
Right. Kristen?
No comment?
Courtney? Betsy?
Any erosion?
I have a comment. You know what you forgot?
oh gosh,
You forgot salt marsh.
Any erosion?
was there marsh here?
Yeah. On the property.
Oh.
To the east of
Shall
the
be
proposed.
contained,
Yeah.
or,
Along top of the
And as far as I'm concerned, you could
Is it down here?
give Jen a new,
Well, that
Yeah.
that may have been in here off the lot, but
well, it's below where the,
Still within 100
remove
feet
the
of the
rubber
project, Jeff.
stick, and it's within 100 feet.
okay.
Um,
Well, we're not gonna be working over there, but I'm sorry. I didn't
Okay.
do that. My surveyor should have picked that up, but,
Should've, yeah.
I mean, he's normally spot on, but,
Wasn't thinking in those terms when he
this-
was out
this
there.
day, I guess he didn't catch it.
Got it, Maury.
So then I have another question, and it has to do with, as you're looking towards the dock to the right, where you're gonna have the lateral steps, and you're gonna,
The new ones?
The new ones.
3-footers, yeah.
right. On the left, it's like sort of typical riprap that we see that's mortared, yet,
In here,
and
here it's
and
loose.
north of that. And on that side, it's all kind of just rubble.
yes. Right.
Will that not be a problem? I mean, are the steps gonna come off that wall? And so,
It's gonna come off the end of the wall. It'll look like this here, this detail.
yeah, I'm just worried
without the
about that.
railing.
If there was a storm, if you had a big swell coming in there, it might, eat out
It
behind it.
could, I mean, the stones are, more
Well, they're not,
man-sized than boulders. These are,
well, they're big on that side, but on this side,
yeah.
it's kind of rubbly. I'm just wondering if,
I mean, it shows, it doesn't say exactly what it is on the license, but it does definitely show riprap.
yeah, but it's not,
But this is a
Beefy
lighter,
riprap.
lighter gauge, yeah.
yeah. I'm just,
Well, I'm gonna pack those, we're gonna have them packed into the sides of this access stairway.
yeah, as best as possible.
I mean, there may be, a need for maintenance, Mark may go down there one day after a storm and have to put 5 or so back in place, it's just,
Well,
The way it
yeah,
is,
I'd like to have it as good as possible when it first gets done, so,
yeah, I understand. I just didn't know if you would want us to mortar that cobbly riprap. I think it's better
probably not.
No.
left as is. But I'm trying to rebuild the access stairs that show on the license, as well as give them access down on that side of the dock, because you can't get under it.
Yeah, no, I understand why you're doing it. It's just, I was a little worried because that, it's it's small enough that it could be moved and if you have big swell coming in there.
Sure.
So, that's it. Those are my questions.
Mary,
No questions, thanks.
Jamie.
No questions.
It's the Commission's pleasure.
Do we need anything? We need the marsh on the
We need
map,
more.
but
No, but Jeff
That
can
can come
turn
in.
in a plan, at some point this week or next week to me for that.
okay, I make a motion that we close the hearing and take it under advisement.
Second.
With Betsy and Jamie. Any other comments or questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Next up is Jennifer Rogue, 5.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good night,
Jeff.
good night, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
548 Quaker Road, North Falmouth, Mass. Permission to construct and maintain an outdoor patio with a retaining wall, timber landing, and stairs from the existing deck, rebuild existing in-ground steps, install a stockade fence, native mitigation plantings, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen,
I'll save any of my comments until after Joel's presentation.
good evening, Joel.
Joel.
Good evening, Joel Cubic with Holmes and McGrath. We filed this application, given the late hour, I'll try and summarize and state that this was, this property was looked at for an administrative approval back in February by the staff in order to reconfigure some of the steps. There was an existing timber deck up to the front door, which was replaced with a bluestone walkway and a new front entrance area there. What the applicant would like to do is put a new patio off to the east side of the house here. That area along most of this side of the house, the closest resource area is this coastal bank that runs right along there. It's a guard flood zone. It does meet the required slope in that area. The other addition is the construction of some steps from an upper deck down to that lower patio area. In mitigation for all of that new impervious area, and as well as the shed that was approved as part of this administrative approval, we planted, or proposed to plant over 1,600 square feet of mitigation plants on the property. Because this is all in the FWR Zone A, 50-foot setback from that coastal bank, that's a 3-to-1 ratio of plantings to the proposed work. Currently, the downspouts from the house are just piped out to the surface for proposing filters and dry wells. I believe this meets all your requirements, and I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
Joel, if you said this, I'm sorry, how high is that retaining wall gonna be?
It varies just due to the slope there. Obviously, it's cut in towards the street side.
Yeah, I remember discussing this out there with her,
Okay.
so.
And again, the property is sloping off
Yeah,
towards that
it
far
does.
corner. At the house,
Does it have to be engineered? Is it over 4 feet at any point?
That front corner, originally there were supposed to be some steps going down there, she removed those. So at this point, it is probably close to 4 feet, maybe even 5 feet at the building corner. towards
In the
street.
front, towards the street,
Towards-
yeah.
Just that one
So,
spot there.
we'll need a detail on that. Okay? And how far down does that, she wants that stockade fence, right?
Correct.
And how far down does she want that, all the way to the stone wall?
To the stone wall, yes, on both sides.
Both sides.
There's an existing stockade fence next to the driveway. She wants to continue that along her angled property line over to the stone wall on the west side. And line it down along the property line as well.
Do I not see that on the plan? Oh,
Uh,
I
Yes.
got it.
It's behind the existing
Got it.
shed.
Yeah, know that. No, and I don't have as much of an issue as I have the other one. Okay. She does realize they're gonna be raised to allow for the passage of wildlife. You informed your client of that, correct?
they're gonna be similar to the existing stockade that's out there right now, correct?
Well, there isn't a stockade on this side.
On the west side it is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I have. I've been out there many times.
You all set, Jen?
Yeah.
Okay. Betsy?
I have no question.
Mary?
Sorry. You have some areas that I colored in yellow, and they're drawn the way you often see a limit of work drawn on the plan. Are those the estimated habitat?
Our
areas?
estimated habitat is shown, it's not within this area of construction, there is some plantings within that, but that is the stone wall on the
Oh, okay,
neighbors.
oh,
Yeah,
right,
that's all.
okay.
This is the estimated habitat.
Gotcha, okay. And I saw 2 or 3 flags, trees that were flagged, and, in the BVW, and I was wondering if the idea was for those to be removed, which, they shouldn't.
The BBW isn't on our property, that's owned by someone else.
Okay,
And
okay.
it was an old cranberry bog, it's owned by the homeowners association across that area. And they clean out those ditches and things, we're not proposing any work
Okay.
on those trees out there.
All right. Fine, that's it for me, thanks.
Jamie?
I'm good.
Mike?
There is what I believe is a proposed dry well in, northwest corner? Yeah, that is what it is, all right, that's fine.
Correct, there's 2 of them, one here.
Yeah, one
One
over
on the
there.
patio.
Pipes just
Okay.
come out to the surface,
That's
we're
good.
gonna put it on the ground.
There's a little filling on it, I'm not concerned about that. No other questions?
Maury?
I actually just had one question, and that was, do we, and this is to Jen, do we usually allow mitigation planting so close to the structure? You know where that patio is? I mean, usually mitigation
No,
is.
usually allow them, you have them be 10 feet away from the structures just so they can
So
walk
that
around.
All right, so the patio's fine. I just worry that
Well, I would argue, well,
I would argue it's different with a patio than an actual structure.
okay. I just haven't
what's the
seen
height of
anybody
that wall
tuck.
on that side? That's like 2 feet in that area?
Roughly, yeah, that's average, yeah.
So wait, you get 7.9 in here, so it's that corner where it's 11.3, like 3 feet.
At that one.
I mean, they're gonna be able to access around it. So that would be my only concern, Joel, is 5 feet enough or 4 feet enough for them to like maintain that if they needed to?
And it actually
That
seems.
was a question.
Yeah, that was a question.
I think they can maintain that.
Okay.
Well, it almost seems like where that mitigation planting is, by the patio, that looks like that was probably once very vegetated and it got cleared. So I'm feeling like that mitigation is not really mitigation, it's almost should be restoration. I don't know about out front, I mean, on the BVW side. And, I mean, it's just such a small area to try to, and when you don't have any more room in the A zone, you just can't add any more. And I feel like the proposed patio is adding an awful lot to this property, in impervious surface, because it doesn't even tell us what it is even made out of. Does it? I didn't see what it was made of, it just said proposed patio. Is it,
Correct,
is
she-
it
she
pervious,
hadn't-
impervious?
Yeah, she hadn't decided on.
Well, it's really important,
It's
I mean,
probably gonna be bluestone like the front steps.
so it's impervious.
Front walkway. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so it's impervious, all right, well, I'm not really excited about adding this much in the A zone and really, putting the mitigation right up against it probably was naturally vegetated not long ago, so, thank you.
Kristen?
No questions.
Courtney?
No questions.
What's the board's pleasure?
Close the hearing, take it under advisement.
Second.
Maury, we probably have pictures of Mark.
Maury
out there
and
for that
Mike.
general admin, and we can look them up.
All right, any other comments or questions from the commission?
Believe me, you couldn't see that.
Comments,
house
questions
8
from the
years.
public? Hearing none, I'll call for the
couldn't
vote.
even see
All
that
those in
house.
favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved.
And there's nothing left of the A buffer.
So there's two of them.
Deliberate.
Okay, next up is Lawrence White, 194 Acapesca Road, East Falmouth, Mass. For permission to construct a pier with a 4-foot by 58-foot walkway. Install 12 10-inch diameter pilings, 4 6-inch by 6-inch diameter posts, support structures, and a terminal 6-foot by 3-foot by 16-foot fixed T-section. Jen?
Oh, did you say something?
Yes. You're up.
I'll say that Anna gets
Oh.
until after Mr. Borselli's presentation.
You, Mike.
Someone not paying attention?
No, I wasn't sure he was talking.
Call her
I was
mid-yawn.
yawning.
Be brief if I can. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Michael Borselli from Falmouth Engineering, and I represent the applicant, Lawrence White. Mr. White owns the property at 194 Acapesca Road. I'm also joined here tonight, by the way, by Pam Lindberg from Stantec. They did the shellfish survey, if there's any questions about their report. So the Whites own the property at 194 Acapesca Road. There's an existing single-family dwelling, typical residential lot. To the north and south, there are existing docks. Our office designed and permitted this dock through you folks as well as the selectmen in Chapter 91. And that dock received a certificate of compliance not too long ago. And the neighbor decided he wanted to propose submit an application to do a similar dock project. The wetland resources in question include coastal bank, the sloping landform just upwind of a very narrow fringe of BBW, and then there's salt marsh. And of course, land under the ocean and land containing shellfish resources are on the water. So with all dock projects, the first thing we do is do soundings to make sure we have adequate water depth, which we do. We have a minimum of 3 feet of water at low tide at the terminal end of the dock. Once we determine that, we make sure that the harbor master has no issues, so we go have a meeting with the harbor master. You have a requirement that we submit a letter from him, which is in your file. Then we go do a shellfish survey. So the shellfish survey was done after we staked the dock, and Pam's office did the field work and the report, and the results of the shellfish report demonstrate that there are not significant densities of shellfish in this water sheet. So we qualified to proceed, in my opinion, to apply for the permit because we think we meet all of your standards. The dock is proposed as a typical dock that you've seen on many occasions. It's a timber dock with a 4-foot width. It's a fixed structure, and it ends with a T at the end that measures 6 by 16. I think I did that math right. It's less than 100 square feet. There's details of that structure. There's a profile, a typical cross-section, and then a blow-up of the end, how it would be built and decked. The concept is to start the dock at a level place on the existing grass, and it lends itself to just an easy transition to step onto the dock. Then before we get into the title zone, we're proposing 6 by 6 posts that would be hand dug to a depth of 4 feet. And we position those in a way that they're not within the wetland resource. They're upland of the edge of the BVW. And then we were actually able to completely span by increasing the span to the first set of pilings to 18 feet instead of the typical 16 to 17. But that made it so there's no penetrations into the salt marsh or the BVW. This section is elevated to provide a minimum of 5 feet for sunlight penetration as well as lateral access, which is a requirement of Chapter 91. We've also proposed this section to be through-flow decking, which is 50% sunlight decking. And then the rest, the other sections of the dock, we're showing it as either through-flow or 2x6 decking with the required spacing of 3/4 inch. It's not an absolute requirement to do through-flow. I've highly recommended that he do it, but it's more expensive to do the through-flow. So we show it as an option everywhere but where it's absolutely required, where you're crossing the wetland. We then changed the spacing back to 17 feet, and it worked out nicely for the length of this dock. The dock projects out 50 feet from mean high water, and about 60 feet from the upper or the landward edge of the salt marsh. You allow 100-foot max, but there was no need to go out that far because we were able to get the adequate water depth at that distance. We went a little bit deeper than the 3 feet, just to, make sure there was at least 3 feet in a little bit. The plans you have in front of you have soundings on them to demonstrate that. I know sometimes you question the number of soundings. So I have done more soundings. I don't generally get an opportunity to do a lot of soundings where the dock is going to terminate because I don't really know until I do the first pass at the soundings. So when we stake the dock for you to review and for the shellfish survey to be done, we peppered the area around the dock with more soundings. And I have revised plans, but I have a feeling that question may be asked, so I have the revised plans in hopes that I can avoid a continuance if everything else is okay. I think that pretty much sums it up. We're here to answer questions.
All right, just before I turn it over to Jen, because Jeff heard it earlier, the staking was a little weak, Mike.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I would have preferred to see the coastal bank staked, the flood zone staked. I mean, there was 3 or 4 stakes there, I think, maximum, Mike? What'd you see? I saw 3 that I could
Yeah, there might not
visualize,
have
and then,
been I didn't know that you needed the flood zone staked for a dock. That's,
I
go to the effort of
much
staking.
prefer that, to see that, like, you
Well, now
know.
you've heard it from the chairman, so next
Yeah.
time, stick flood zones and your A buffers and
Jen.
B buffers.
Go to it.
I just had a question on a dock. Do you want to see the A and B zone staked too?
I really would like to.
You know what, it just makes it simple, so everybody stakes A and B buffer, you'll be getting a wonderful little email from us tomorrow, just to remind everybody to stake their sites accordingly, and just to not try to say, this is a dock, this is a house, we'll just have everybody do it one way, and then there's no
Yeah.
confusion. I have one quick
So
question.
much
Mike.
easier to visualize it,
Sure,
you know.
I'm not gonna, I
Nope.
agree.
I have one really simple question. Why is the plan that the harbor master reviewed dated August 31st, 2015, and the plan in front of me dated October 28th, 2015?
Probably because he had the version before we made the final.
Next time, make sure that he's all set with the final version that you put before this board, even if he just has to supplement it,
Sure.
okay?
I thought we did that, but it's the
I
same
don't,
dock.
did I miss it in here? Did I?
I didn't see it. I only saw the 3.
Can I see do you have the August 15th plan with you, August 31st plan? And how is it different?
There's more soundings and just more final details on the.
No, I'm talking about how is the August 31st plan, when you didn't have the more soundings, different than the one I'm looking at now? The one the harbor master reviewed.
Yeah.
How is it different from this one?
The length, width, alignment's the same. We added probably all the final notes and the supplemental sounding that was.
Okay, next time, have the harbor master just confirm that.
I'm happy to, if you wanna make it a condition, have
If
it
they don't
condition.
have any more things, we won't need a continuance, but next time you may get
Yeah.
stuck with a continuance, so I'm just saying, next time, have them confirm it, okay? Don't require, let's put it this way, don't sit there, you can make it a condition, because you will get a continuance to kind of
Sure,
go
all right.
back and cross your i's, go and dot your t's, or whatever that says. That's it, that was my one question.
Courtney?
No question.
Kristen? Mari?
Is it gonna be electrical out there?
I just have water.
I don't
It just
think-
says water,
I
but
don't-
then
yeah.
in your narrative, you said you lumens, you were gonna have so many lumens.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't show a line for an electric trench. I noticed that too. Missed that. It shows on the cross section, but it doesn't show going up a line.
Yeah,
I'd like to have the right
Ability.
to that.
you want
Or-
permission? No.
It would be a 6-inch direct burial probably, well, in a PVC.
It's not a big deal, it just wasn't on the plan,
Yeah,
so,
it should have been on the plan.
yeah, it should have been on the plan, Mike. But at least you got the right town.
That's never gonna get old.
Which means Mike's gonna submit
I
a
did
plan
notify
with that
Mount
detail on
Mashpee
it,
on this one.
Yeah.
Because I always-
a new plan. Jen will require a new plan.
What?
For what?
If we close this,
Oh,
it
yes,
should be on here.
yes,
The electrical line should be
yes,
on
it
his
should be on
plan.
the plan of reference.
For the ones for the file, sure.
And it was really sad, I read the whole survey, that in
Yeah, we don't
Green
know
Pond, there were only 4 cohogs in that whole area, that's so sad. Good for dock installations, but bad for the environment. That's all, thanks, Mike.
Mike?
I don't wanna sound like a broken record, but again, the, benchmark on the, I don't see it on the plan. And the question related to that is, the depth of measurements were taken to low water. How was low water tied to your datum of, North American vertical datum?
Well, there's a difference of about 3/10 between the two datum systems, so we make a conversion.
Could
yeah.
you, in the future, just put a note saying how that was done?
Sure.
Mike, since he'll be submitting a new plan, putting the electrical line, do you want that note on the new
Yeah,
revised
you
plan?
just put it on the,
Sure.
it's just a note,
Yeah.
that's all it takes.
Benchmark in the note?
Benchmarks and then, one, comment, then, two comments. One, the homeowner is very sensitive. I mean, that lawn is exactly what you'd hope for, what it is under the trees.
I was
It's
gonna say
there,
that,
it
that
is,
was
and
one of my
it's
favorite lawns that I've
And
visited.
it shows that you can have a really friendly lawn on
Cape
a
Cod
pond
lawn.
and live happily. So if we're gonna criticize people, I should say something nice about this guy. And that's it. And while I'm on doing it, there is ongoing erosion. There's just no missing along that edge where it is. And while someone was coming in with enough equipment to do the dock, might be a time, if somebody was inclined to do it, would be a good time to do it. No requirement, just this guy's observations.
I didn't look
And
that
I'm
closely at,
Thanks, Betsy?
Yeah, I like the lawn. That was a highlight of my visit.
you didn't notice we hit all the irrigation heads?
You don't need irrigation heads for moss. And this has nothing directly to do with this, but I'm just curious, since you permitted the dock next door, why is the dock next door so long?
Why is it so long? I think the client on that project wanted a little bit deeper water.
Okay,
Deeper water.
no, it goes, he had,
All set,
No, I'm
Betsy?
done, yeah.
Okay, Mary?
No questions.
Jamie?
No question.
All right. Commissioner's pleasure.
I make a motion to close the hearing and take it under advisement with the provision that Mike gives us a new plan with the things that we asked him for.
Second.
With more soundings, the electrical, and the benchmark, and a note on the conversion of the data.
Have more sound.
Yeah, I know, but now you have to put the other stuff on, so.
So we
Wait,
got a
get a head
motion and a
start.
second. That's Mary seconded that.
Jamie didn't get to second.
Any
that
other
one again.
questions or comments from the commission? Questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, continued request for a hearing under a notice of intent. Lauren Howard, 25 Jetty Lane, West Falmouth, Mass., for permission to remove the garage and construct a two-car garage, remove and enlarge the deck, reconstruct landings, pump, and remove cesspools, and upgrade with new Title V sewage disposal system, remove trees, install native tree and shrub plantings, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen?
What are we on?
We're in Jetty Lane.
That's my question too.
The form's right in front of Betsy.
What's it?
What are we
I
on?
think it's all of us.
Jetty Lane, 25
Jetty Lane. Got it.
Is it all?
Forward.
Mr. Chairman, I
Form.
recuse myself.
Everybody but
Jamie is
Jamie.
recusing himself, Susan?
We continued it for more test pits in the front, and I have a note here about a plumbing contractor. I have no idea why.
Something about the pipes going, the elevations going in the basement to hook it up
Yeah,
elsewhere,
Yeah, if they
Thank
could
you.
move the septic system, I think that's what it was, wasn't it?
which they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Jeff Ryther, BSS Design, representing Lauren Howard,
Yeah, we moved it from the
25 Jetty Lane, West Falmouth. This is, like I heard earlier, it's a removal of the single car garage, going to build a two-car garage. A little bit of room in the back end of that, and then there's also going to be a new dining room rebuilt here in the connection. The changes are down here. There's two revisions. The most recent is November 6th. What we did is we did meet, we had an architect down there. We did not get a plumber, but we did see that we could take that line that's coming out right here, bring it along the cellar wall, bypass the, there's a burner in the corner, go into the crawl space of this addition, this was done years ago, and then come out this side of the house to a septic tank and move the leach field from the backyard to the front.
It's great.
Great.
Thank you.
Good job.
Jeff, you did a good job, thank you.
Yeah, the only thing that's kind of sad is the paving was just done a year ago, but
It is great. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Such is life.
they have to do a little
The
patchwork
environment
here
is
as well.
better
so-
off, Jeff.
Yeah? Yeah, okay.
Here he goes.
I make a motion to close the
But
hearing.
I was going to say that
And the
we
deck is
we-
now
we
a
didn't-
patio.
right, the deck is now going to be a patio. We looked at the height of the wood. It was just too close to the ground. It wasn't going to work with the proper timbers that we needed with what space is available, so we went with a patio. So that'll be a paver patio instead of a deck. One more thing is we were going to take out this oak, and that's not going to happen no longer.
Oh, good.
But we are going to take that one oak here that is actually hanging over the roof of the house, so it's really a good thing. It's time for this one to go. And we're going to plant a cedar tree here. And then here's the buffer plantings for the new patio area here, within that buffer B area.
Okay.
That's the end.
I make a motion that we close the hearing and take it under advisement.
Second.
Nice job.
So we got Betsy and Mike. And any other questions or comments from the commission?
That would be a nice project.
Questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Let's get it going.
Good job. Thanks to the applicant.
All right, next up is Mary Ann Maloon, 187 Carriage Shop Road, East Falmouth, Mass. And I'm not gonna, this has already been read in the record, so,
A patient woman.
We continue
Yes,
this for
God bless
DPW
her.
data sheets and natural heritage's letter. Mike, did you get a copy of natural heritage letter? Yeah. Excellent.
Did you?
I'm sure we did. I
It was
just,
emailed.
yeah, I'm sure we did.
I have it.
Nope, we'll go through the email.
Did we get the
Great.
data sheets?
Yes, we did.
Okay,
We're good.
good for me.
Make a motion
Right.
to close the hearing, take it under advisement.
Second.
Maury and Jamie.
Wow.
Maury and Jamie.
Can you read the mood?
Did you really want to say something?
I don't, but this one wanted to ask a question.
Okay.
Sure.
You didn't take the vote yet.
We've been sitting here
Motion second,
patiently all
no
evening,
more
ma'am.
from
What
the
is your
board.
You
question?
deserve a
Mary Ann
Hearing
Malone,
closed.
187 Carrot Shop Road. Is it possible to get a listing or of areas that have mitigating plantings the way you're indicating you want me to plant? Because I
go-
don't plant that way, and I don't know what it looks like.
Oh, the
I'm-
species or?
Are you talking about a plantless species or an
No.
area where you could go and look?
Where I could go and look and see where it's been done, where I can see
Call
what
my
it's going
office
to look.
tomorrow or Friday, tomorrow afternoon or Friday, and we could probably give you some properties.
Excellent, that would be
Okay.
great. Because I can't visualize it, and it's
Okay.
making me crazy.
I was one dad.
What you
We
can
usually do
visualize
that.
is the requirement to not take the grass out.
Oh,
Oh,
gotcha.
just dig a hole,
see,
just dig a
that-
hole in the grass.
Right by the road. I don't mind in the back, like where the deck is. But going all along the whole
Oh,
front,
see,
it's just, I
that
can't.
might be a little difficult because at first, I mean, you're gonna plant it in the grass is gonna grow up, but eventually the shrubs are gonna get so big, they're just gonna outcompete the grass and it's just gonna die back and
Doesn't that block my view?
the grasses?
If there, no, the big, I was hoping for shrubs that weren't gonna be as big.
You want shrubs smaller than grasses? I'm confused.
No.
What she's
No.
saying is,
No.
I described some of the plant species that, and they grow to 3 to 4 feet tall. They don't,
Right.
they
They're
don't
not-
really
there's
grow
not these-
taller than that.
This is the front of my house, and it's by the road. I'm a mulching, I know you guys hate mulch, but I'm a mulching, edging, neat, precise, planted, even, my mother was a Libra. If
Well,
there's a-
unfortunately, this is a buffer and not a
I
planting
know,
bed, but I'll give you some properties you can go look at,
Okay,
ma'am.
all right, thank you. I appreciate it.
It's amazing, they actually look pretty nice.
They do.
All right, any other comments, questions from the commission?
More if you get any sites
Any
in
other
mind.
I do.
comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
This is inland.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved.
Thank
Thank you for your
you.
Email
patience.
me tomorrow.
Yeah,
been a
it's a
long
long
evening.
night.
Yes.
I feel bad about that.
You can't, you know, I told her,
Mike?
we start at 7,
Yeah.
but don't get there get there at 8. You can't guess, you know, you don't want to be
Well, with the steamship.
And
you
the
could've guessed
steamship
it was
got
gonna-
moved.
What am I gonna do?
Okay, next up is the continued request for an
Thank you.
extension
Good night.
of existing order of conditions, 207 Meadow Neck Road, Charles, Jeffrey, and Veronica Jordan, DEP number 25-3888. Jim?
Staff is recommending a one-year extension.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Find my-
Questions or comments from the
I
commission?
need that just so I know when I can show.
Questions, comments from the public? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. All right, vote order of conditions, 41 Co Street, Jacqueline Holmes.
Same form? No, I have the form right here that I just ripped up into 1,000 little pieces.
Yeah, I had a form too,
Really?
but I just.
Everybody but
Gone.
Kristen out. This
Everybody?
was the,
Oh, but Kristen.
fiber roll project.
41 Cove, remember that one?
Little
Oh,
fiber,
Jack's project.
Jack project, little tiny roll of fiber rolls on town property and their property, because it met in the middle. Then they wanted the pollarding, but they took the pollarding off the table, they also took the fiber rolls off the table from their, where they were on town property, and they're gonna vista prune in accordance with your regulations. Sound familiar?
Sounds very familiar, sounds good.
And hopefully they took the TV set off the table as well.
I make a motion to
I
accept
second.
the order as discussed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Did you get that, Mary and Maury? Any further discussion from the commission? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. One more thing.
One more thing, we have to set a
Yeah.
public meeting, to vote the orders of conditions. So I am gone next week, guys, so it's gonna have to be the week after. And I would prefer to do it that Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, not the 2 days I get back. So what's your pleasure?
Can you tell
That
us the
would be the
dates you're
second,
saying?
the
That
third,
would be
or
the
fourth?
the second, third, or
Third or
fourth.
fourth of December, and what time?
Morning, I assume?
7,
I can be here whatever time you guys would
Seven?
like me to be here.
so you want to do
What?
7?
Wednesday, Thursday, or
Fine
Friday.
with me.
It's not fine with me. I
It's
mean,
not
I'll
fine
do
with me.
it, but it's hard.
It's, I'm flexible, so whatever time, you know,
Kristen, what are your time constraints?
I'm just doing cleanups now.
If everybody wants to do it at 7,
Second,
I'll do it
third,
at
or
7.
fourth,
It's not the end
sometimes,
of the world.
everybody, sometimes Kristen, when we
We're
don't have
close
hearings
to-
for a
I
couple of
gotta
weeks,
start
we
at
have to
8,
have an
and
early
then-
morning meeting in order to vote orders of conditions, so we
slow.
can vote them in,
I don't think
on
this- I
time.
don't think any of
So
these
do you have any time constraints, like an
In
employer that says you
December-
have to be here at 8 o'clock or whatever?
In December,
Yeah, December 2nd, 3rd, or 4th.
second would be better.
How many,
Second would be better for me, but that's out.
That's fine, we could do the 2nd, that's fine, it's just the more, Jamie, what time, 7? Mary, if we have Jamie, Betsy,
Yeah,
Russ,
and I can be
Mike,
here early,
Maury,
yeah,
Kristen, and Courtney,
We have a
don't
quorum.
need you.
yeah.
that
Not
sounds
that
We
we're
love
with
you.
me, I know how painful it is.
Not to leave you out of
I'll
anything.
try not to be hurt by that.
Yeah, I'm saying, I'm giving you an out here.
Yeah, I see that.
So we'll go December 2nd at 7 a.m.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, I'm writing it down anyway.
Will you email us though?
Oh, do I
Yeah,
need,
email that out.
The ones we just closed.
How many votes, by the way? Is that,
How many are we voting?
yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4,
Four.
5?
oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Now I,
7 a.m.?
7
Now you're not
a.m.
feeling so hurt we don't need you?
So now, Mary,
no,
I'll-
it's not that, I was wondering, we almost never vote that many at a special
No.
meeting. So I was thinking, does it really need to start at 7 because they're usually so quick? But 5 is a lot.
No, because these guys have some, Jamie and.
Some of us have a real job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You guys got.
I know, I
And
do,
then
I
you
do
could-
have a phantom job.
And if there's enough of us, since if you have, somebody has to leave, they can
They
leave.
answer
The
to
third,
somebody
7
else
a.m.?
besides their own boss, so.
All right, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved, adjourned. Did you get that one?